Hey everybody, today's demo is going to be on the shrinking dollies and the donut dollies. We're going to shape up a little panel here and shrink it back down into some fun shapes. I'm going to start off by introducing some of the tools that I use here. On the bottom here is my Ultra Stump. It's a UHMW block with a conical depression machined in it. And it's got 1/2 inch 13 bolts that allow you to bolt it to, in this case, a grinder pedestal. It can be bolted to any solid surface, a bench, back of a truck, wherever you need to get to. It's got holes machined in here, and this allows you to line up other tools and use this as a modular setup. In this case, we have this is the high crown stump. The second block is the low crown stump. I've highlighted these so you can see the relative difference between them. The white doesn't show up on the camera very well. This is set up with loose pins. These pins are loose so that you can insert them into the holes here, and you can set it up with either the low crown side up, or you can flip it over and you got a flat side to work from for planishing things out, flattening out. All the edges are radiused. You got 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/8 and 1/2 inch radius. So it gives you some extra shapes to work from off to the sides. Nice thing about working with this, if you're using a sandbag, this little 6" works great. Fits right in there. This depression on the high crown is 6.5 inches, and the low crown at 6 3/4. 6" bag sits in there real nicely. Doesn't move when you're hitting on it. It kind of keeps itself centered. Works just the same with a larger 12" bag. So you get it on there, it tends to keep itself in place instead of running around all over the place. If you set this guy up with the flat facing up, you can use it for other things like a place to set your railroad track to hammer against. You know, good flat surface to work from. The next module is the Ultra Post. Call this the high crown Ultra Stump. The other one's the low crown Ultra Stump. This is the Ultra Post. It's 2" billet aluminum, got a billet aluminum plate. Got interchangeable dies at the top, like a regular post dolly. And on the bottom, we've got 2 alignment pins that match it, so we just take this thing and drop it into those same 2 holes, and it's ready to go. We've got a post dolly to work from. These same tools that we're using, these same dies, will fit in this, what I'm calling the Ultra Dolly, and it basically lets you use any of your post dies, which are also hammerhead dies, in either the 2" or the 1.5" size ranges, and use any of your dies by hand behind a Fender. So we're going to be using all these at some point today. The post is really good for shrinking offhand if you've got a loose panel and you want to be able to work holding the panel and guiding it. This is really nice. If you're working on a panel in place on a car, then the donut dolly works a lot better because you can actually get it in behind a panel and move it around wherever you need to, even in a small area. And the hole through the donut dolly lets you put a finger through there, and you can run it along the back side of the panel and feel high spots and low spots, so you can figure out where you want to align this thing to line up your shrink without having to be able to look at the back side of the panel. So that's the basics there. We're going to start out by shaping up this this shape into a crown shape using the Ultra Stump in the bag, probably. So I'm going to start pounding away on this and throw on my ear goggles here. Notice it shrinks really well. You start hitting on it, it starts raising ruffles off to the sides here, and to support those edges. It leaves a nice smooth surface for those shrinks. By the way, I'm using 50 thousandths 5052 aluminum annealed. By choosing the matching diameter here, you can adjust how tight you want this shrink. If you work up here at the top, it leaves a flatter shrink. If you work down into the middle, it gets tighter. Alright, I'm going to throw in the 6-inch bag here. Do a little stretching in the middle here. Alright, so pretty quickly we got a lot of shape in this part. I'm going to tweak the arrangement here a little bit so that it sits down the way we want it to. It's kind of flattening the edges here. Tighten this up at the end. So the shape I'm trying to go for is somewhat like a Fender, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Use the edge here as a flat. Alright, so that looks kind of Fenderish. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to use the donut dolly, and we're going to shrink a little miniature headlight into the front of this Fender, and then we'll go from there. I'm using this is the medium donut dolly. You hold it by hand, use it on the back side of the panel. It works on a high crown down to a low crown. If you've got only a single curve instead of a compound curve, you really have to trap the ends to be able to get the shrink in, otherwise it'll just keep pushing it away. But what we're going to do here is just start by using it by hand to get the depression started. If you're working on a small piece like this, it can be kind of bouncy. One thing you can do is throw your shop bag down, rest your hand on there, or you can put the dolly directly on the shop bag, and it just kind of helps to stabilize things. If you're working on a car, then obviously the panel is going to be held in place, so you don't have to worry about it. So we'll start out with this to put the depression in there, and then we'll probably switch over to the post dolly a little bit later.